drawn near to oral knuckle. By now, I have been able to mentor others. But, you know, I must confess that I don't know why I accepted this request to share a mentoring experience, because maybe I just did it out of the fact that the person who asked me is also an elder, pastor in my church, and I've learned to submit to authority. It was more of a knee-jerk reaction. Because I look in the crowd here, and I see some persons who I've looked up to as mentors. They haven't just been by default, they have been deliberate. And I really just respect and acknowledge that they haven't just been examples. That's great, just being examples, but they have been deliberate. And I know that there is a pattern or a reason for it. I know some of them have come under the influence of Pastor Ansel Aiken, who I know was an exemplary mentor. He developed this in his life, as a lifestyle of mentoring men. And Andre Davis is one of those who was influenced. David Cook, another person like that. I don't know if anybody else here. But when you look on these men's lives that we are more closely associated with, and we see them and they are inspiring to us, it's because they came under the influence and anointing of a man that carried mentoring as a part of his lifestyle. So it's not too late, because we can now decide to be more deliberate about mentoring, because it does make a difference. And I say that as a disclaimer because I didn't grow up. Ansel influenced me for a short period when I was at high school, because he was one of those who was there as a senior person. But I've observed, and I wish I could have been more deliberate about it earlier in my life, because I think of so much opportunity to have been more certain about inputting in people's lives, rather than just ad hoc. I look on Pastor Raul Tyson here, who I came up under as well, probably more directly, because I was a junior leader in the cell group that he led, and a number of leaders now in the church and in churches came up under Pastor Roy. So he was one of those who was a deliberate mentor by example, teaching, and the authority that God gave. So, as I said, it's a disclaimer to say that I'm just sharing about, I'm more recently thinking about being more deliberate as a mentor, but I lived a lot of my adult life doing it somewhat by default. And so, I just want to share a little experience out of it. I used to play a lot of football, and was involved in football as a ministry to reach men. It was very powerful because there are things men identify with, and when they identify with it, you can speak to them. I think many times the reason why the church sometimes is not reaching men is that in many ways it's not relevant to men. I don't hear the ouches, but anyway. So I got involved in football because of my love for football, and by virtue of that, I was involved in influencing men as I became a leader amongst that ministry. So I was influencing Christian men who loved football and was involved in football and involved in football ministry. But beyond that, it was an outlet for evangelism as well. And I remember in the, I think, early 90s, I went to play a football match down in Anna Gardens. And I saw a young man before the game got started, because there was a lot of eruption in the community, and he had to step into a situation where there was a man who was carrying on in a very vile and violent way, wielding a cutlass, not at anybody, but almost threatening, like, you know, he was going to do something. And there's a crowd of a few hundred people because there was some event that was taking place and we were going to play a match, but we were waiting for this event to finish. This young man that I'm telling you about 6'3", about 250 pounds, and didn't look very amiable. He walked up to this man who was wielding the machete, grabbed him in his waist, half lifted him off the ground, not looking at him, didn't have any weapon, and proceeded to haul him out of the school and put him outside the gate and tell him, stay out there, don't come back inside. And I thought to myself, oh, that's authority. He didn't shout at him, he didn't have a machete or a gun to say, you know, I'm bigger, better. He just grabbed him. And everybody was looking on in amazement. Later that day, about an hour later, I realized that he was the captain of the team we were going to play. And the group, I later found out, was substantially a part of his gang. And he was a young lieutenant community leader who was under a Don, the Don in the area. Well, after the game I shared the gospel, shared the testimony, and remember at this stage I don't know anything like that, you know. I just saw him exercise authority. And as is our custom, invited persons who wanted to change their lives, wanted to give their life to the Lord. And he put up his hand. And then all of a sudden, several of the other guys started putting up their hand. Led them to the Lord in prayer. But right then and there, I saw something. The Lord said to me, you need to stay close to this young man. And I couldn't understand it because normally our ministry is not one that's residential. In other words, we move around the plane, you get saved, we point you to a church, and we move on. But the Lord said something to me about that young man. Anyway, I wasn't sure how to follow. I just spoke to him and took some information. And fast forward a little bit. It so happened that in keeping in touch with him, I realized that he genuinely wanted to change, but he just didn't know how to come out of the cycle that he was in. And in just drawing near, I started to realize how different his lifestyle and mine was. So there was like a compatibility to feel like, oh, yeah, we can gel together and hang out because he's down in jungle and I'm somewhere up down. And he seemed to respond favorably to the link up and so on. As I got to know him, I got to realize how serious his life experience and background was as a young gang leader, and groomed his family. It was a family thing. His father and uncle were part of the hierarchy of the Donship in Africa, and if you know, that is very senior because it was the headquarters, probably still is, for certain factions. Anyway, he was invited, he came around to when we were doing training as Christian ambassadors was a group, and brought him in, developed a little rapport. And I just felt like not just contacting him and keeping in touch with him, but he wasn't working legitimately. And he used to run a cable company from way back when, as I said, not legitimately. But by the time I realized, I said to him, you know, there's a little project, do you want to come work on a project? He said, yeah. And that was the beginning. Eventually, he became an employee, supervisor. Now he's a writer after 20 years. So because he was working for me, there was an opportunity on a daily basis to be able to be input in his life. And it wasn't an easy journey, especially in the early stages, guys. It was crazy sometimes. Because where he was at, he was in a culture of violence, retribution, all that we see and observe in our society. He grew up in that. Authority and power on things. If you see something you don't like, you deal with it. If somebody on your side gets hurt or killed, you kill 2, 3 people. So you understand the kind of clash of difference between where I am at and where I grew up. Been a Christian since I was 15 to this young man. But it was, I remember one time he came to me crying because he was so angry of what he wanted to do because somebody threatened his mother. And he wouldn't have had that problem before. Another time, quickly, his friend of his was murdered on the roadside when he was nearby. Somebody rode by, shot him, killed him. His friends were saying to him, "What you going to do about it?" And he's conflicted because he's gave his life to the Lord, but he is struggling, and I'm there, and he's coming to me with tears in his eyes. What do I do? Because this is what I wanted to do. And then later on I find out that he says to the guys, "I can't do this." But they said, "We're going to do something. We know where he is now, and we're going to go for him." And he went with them. And when they were going to, they held him because they knew he was sleeping somewhere, and they held him. And he begged for the guy's life, said, "Listen, call the police, tie him up, label him, and let's let the police deal with it. Tell them what he did." And he was able to convince them of that. And so he said, "I'll wait with them so you can put away your gun." And so that incident went by where the person's life was saved because something had happened inside him, and the counsel and the input was able to encourage him to do what was right. Now, trust me, not everything went. But there was a progression of transformation to the point where his family was threatened down there to be firebound because of a stance. There was a faction of breakdown. Now, there's a cost to mentoring, as these guys would tell you. It can be a big cost because you can't cherry pick when you're involved and when you're not involved. Eh? He came to me and he was ready to break out. He even went to the Don and said, "Let me a gun." The Don said to him, "Why don't you get out, Christian? You don't want a gun for now, man. Just stay out there." But he came to me and shared with me how his mother means the world to him. And they threatened to do harm to them. And he said to me, "You don't know how he can deal with it. He can't. How do you as a Christian deal with something like this?" And he said to me, "I can't do anything. I need help." I went to my mother. That was the only place I could go. And for 2 nights, his mother and father took refuge in my family's home. There was a cost. You can't always pick how it will work out. So I'm telling you this because sometimes you can see the nice side of mentoring, and it's a great thing because of the impact and the results. But you can't know the path it's going to take. You're just going to have to know that you're in it for the long haul, and God positions you for such a time as this. So many of you will encounter the misfits like David, who became known as the mighty men of valor. But you may have to be in the trenches and in the caves with them so they can see you and see how you handle crises and see how you handle situation and be inspired by you. Right now, as I said, he is certainly not perfect, but he has come so far that a lot of those issues that used to be known are no more. Still need prayer, still need nothing because the culture is ingrained in him. But I just use that as an example because that was mentoring by default. God took me along a journey that I didn't deliberately say, "Yes, this is what I'm going to do." But I've learned that there's an opportunity for us to deal with those God put around us and to bring them to a place where they in turn become mighty men of valor. Amen.